So some of you thought I was a little too nice when it came to the 6K Pro. So today we need to get real when it comes to things that I'm honestly not a big fan of about this camera. And if you have not watched already, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to the video of why I'm using this camera in 2023 up on the screen and why it's really great for my workflow. Now, I don't want to waste your time today talking about the obvious things that people have a gripe with when it comes to this camera and that you have honestly heard 1,000 times before, like the battery life, the form factor, etc. But let's talk about the things that are not as obvious coming from somebody that has used this camera for easily over 1,000 hours and since it's been released for the past 2 years now. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is the dead pixel issue on this camera. Now this could be an isolated problem related to my camera specifically, but I don't think that's the case. It's happened multiple times now where I come back from a shoot, I'm reviewing it, I notice a dead pixel that's in the footage. I want to show you what this looks like on the screen. Now, will the client notice this, or in this case, the couple? Probably not, but I can't stress enough to check this beforehand when heading out on a shoot. There is a reason that Blackmagic has the pixel remapping feature built into the menu system, because I think they recognize that this can happen. Now, a good practice would be to do the pixel remapping before every shoot if you can. But if you do want a quick way to check and see if you have a dead pixel, then what you want to do is turn on the camera with your lens covered so it shows the black screen. Then from there, turn up your ISO on the camera while also turning on your focus peaking. And if you have a dead pixel, the focus peaking will point it out as a solid dot on the screen. And I would be curious to know if you have run into this issue in the comments below. Feel free to drop something down there. Now, another frustration I have with this camera is maybe less obvious is the playback feature. Since the camera was released, Blackmagic did come out with an update which improved how you could scroll through clips during playback, which I loved. But if you have clips that were shot on a different day, to my knowledge, there is no way to go back and see these clips unless importing them on a computer. You can only see the clips on the card shot from that specific day. It's a fairly minor thing, but it does come up from time to time where I want to review that footage on set. So if there is any way to fix this, please also drop a comment below, because I haven't figured out a way to work around this, and I think it's just really the way cinema cameras are designed. Transitioning to image quality, this camera is known for having pretty bad IR pollution from the sensor. Now, those of you not familiar with IR pollution, a camera image sensor records light, not only the visible light, but also the colors we see around us. So a tiny bit of that infrared spectrum that we don't see is actually mixing with the other colors in your image. And so the end result is you're getting IR pollution. Now, this clip I'm about to show you is where you would notice it the most. Generally on a hot sunny day, groom is potentially wearing a black suit or jacket. And when you zoom in a little bit, you can see that there's this overall magenta or red cast of the image that we just do not want. Now, you are able to correct this somewhat in post and get it out, but of course you want to strive to get the cleanest image possible in camera. This is honestly why I chose to invest in these Hoya IR filters for every lens that I own, as it's done a very good job of cutting out the IR of the image, and it doesn't have any ND associated with it, which I love. So I'll go ahead and drop a link to this filter down below if you want to check it out. Now, I know this is going to be a touchy topic, but let's talk about the low light performance on this camera. Now, before I get a ton of comments, oh man, what are you talking about? This camera's phenomenal in low light for what it is, dual native ISO, etc. Look, I know the camera performs really well in low light for what it is, but obviously in a controlled environment with a lot of light, this camera, it's game over. It's a beast. But with some of the recent releases like the Sony FX3 and the Canon C70, you look at the image and it just looks so clean in low light scenarios. Not to say, again, the Blackmagic looks bad, but I really hope in the next iteration of this camera, I would love to see a big bump in low light performance, especially for a wedding filmmaker or if you're a run and gun filmmaker where you can't control the light in all situations, especially for specific commercial projects. And the last thing that I want to bring up is the gimbal use for this camera. I am just going to go ahead and say that this thing is a pain in the ass to mount on a gimbal to the point where I usually just use the regular 6K for specific commercial shots where I need the gimbal. But even after investing in counterweights and using different plates, it never seemed to work quite right, with the added frustration that when mounting a Sigma 18-35, the lens that everybody usually uses, it's very hard to pull focus without the motor slipping off, even when using a focus ring. I've tried different mounting points from the top of the camera, the side, left, right. It just simply comes down to the way the mounting points were designed on the original version that are less than ideal. And I believe DJI actually corrected this in the RS3 version. But you know, anything RS2 or past that, you're probably gonna run into this problem. All in all, even with its few quirks, this camera is still an absolute beast and a pleasure to shoot with. Honestly, I cannot wait to see what Blackmagic has in store for the next version of this camera, because I think we all know they're gonna knock it out of the park. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Murphy out.